the American Legion Auxiliary flag, the VFW flag, the VFW Auxiliary flag, the flag of the state of Wisconsin. Today we are honored to join you in this great tribute to American veterans. We gather here this afternoon to show our appreciation and gratitude for the veterans of the United States Armed Forces. And on our Veterans Day here and across the nation, Americans are showing expressions of respect for those who currently wear or have worn the uniform of our great nation. Veterans are selfless individuals that accomplish extraordinary things. Today, we praise all of you for your sacrifice, commitment, and service. Thank you. It is time to welcome and salute the branches of the United States Armed Forces. Veterans, I ask that you please stand for your branch of service as your flag bearers march into the gym carrying the flags of the United States military. As they enter the gym, the PHS band will also be playing Armed Forces on Parade, representing the themes of the various service branches. The United States Coast Guard. Navy. The United States Air Force. To honor America at this time, I ask everyone to please remain standing and veterans salute as the PHS Concert Choir, under the direction of Mr. Rodriguez Paval, sings our national anthem. This time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Dave Yulberg, who is a very active member of American Legion Post 47 and many other civic and community service organizations. We are fortunate to have Dave in our community. Please welcome Dave to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. As you can see, we have 6 flags, actually 7 flags, representing various veterans organizations here in honor of Veterans Day. At this time, I'd like to briefly describe each flag and what it represents. Next to the American flag is the POW MIA flag, which honors all military personnel who are either prisoners of war or are missing in action. They are never forgotten. The Vietnam Veterans of America foster, encourage, and promote the improvement of the condition of the Vietnam veteran, improving their quality of life. Next is the American Legion flag, which stands for continuous devotion to our active military personnel, veterans, and their families. Legion members continue to serve. The American Legion Auxiliary supports the American Legion by advocating for veterans, educating our citizens, mentoring youth, and promoting patriotism and good citizenship. The VFW stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars. The VFW fosters true patriotism, maintains and extends American freedom, and preserves and defends the United States from all her enemies, whomsoever. The VFW Auxiliary supports the VFW and maintains and extends the institutions of American freedom, equal rights, and justice to all men and women. Together, all of these flags represents the united effort to promote and defend the United States of America. It's a privilege for me to work here at Portage High School. In addition to all of the amazing student body and staff that I work with on a daily basis, we're all very fortunate to have a leader that genuinely cares about all aspects of Portage High School. Mrs. Quallo also has a strong understanding of sacrifice and commitment, and she deeply appreciates those who have chosen to put on the uniform and serve our country. I am very proud to introduce the principal of Portage High School, Mrs. Robin Quallo.
Well, good afternoon. This is always a favorite of mine. So welcome to the 14th annual PHS Veterans Program. And I certainly want to thank Mr. Carlson and all of those that have worked tirelessly the first part of this year to put this on. Today we honor Americans veterans, and specifically Portage veterans, for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. So we will devote the next hour or so to say thank you to our veterans. I am a proud citizen of this great country. I'm proud to be the principal of Portage High School. and I'm very proud to be the daughter of a veteran who served in Vietnam twice and is no longer with us. So please give your utmost respect to this program we are about to enjoy.
Sunday will actually mark the 100th anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. Every year since, our country has paid tribute to veterans on November 11th. For years, this day was known as Armistice Day, and in 1954, President Eisenhower changed the name of the holiday to Veterans Day, which our nation continues to celebrate on an annual basis. Mr. Richard Hoig has served the Columbia County community for many years. Richard was a lieutenant for the Columbia County Sheriff's Department for 25 years before joining the Portage PD. At this time, I am pleased to introduce Richard for a special performance. In honor of the 100th anniversary of the ending of World War, Mr. Hoig will be playing the music from a piece called Sergeant Mackenzie. After the music, Mr. Gordy Blackburn will read the poem Sergeant Mackenzie. Please welcome Mr. Hoig and Mr. Blackburn.
This haunting of lament after the death of his wife Christine, and in the memory of his great-grandfather Charles Stewart Mackenzie, a sergeant in the Seaforth Highlanders who, along with hundreds of his brothers in arms from the Elgin Ross area in Moray, Scotland, went to fight in World War I. Sergeant Mackenzie was bayoneted to death at age 33 while defending one of his badly injured fellow soldiers during hand-to-hand trench warfare. This is the English transition of Sergeant Mackenzie. Lay me down in the cold, cold ground, where before many more have gone. Lay me down in the cold, cold ground, where many more have gone. When they come, I will stand my ground. Stand my ground, I'll not be afraid. Thoughts of home take me far away. Sweat and blood hide my veil of tears. Once a year, say a prayer for me. Close your eyes and remember me. Never more shall I see the gun with the sun, for I fell to a German's gun. Lay me down in the cold, cold ground, where before many more have gone.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Dave Duvall, who is very active in the VFW in promoting veterans in our community. Dave served in Vietnam as a member of the U.S. Navy. Please welcome Dave Duvall.
Good afternoon, everyone. So happy to see you here. Hope you're enjoying the day. I can see by all the smiles on the faces up here, you guys are really enjoying this. There will be a pop quiz on Monday. Are we ready? Taking notes? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for attending the program. On behalf of VFW Post 1707, I wish to thank Ms. Guado for all of her efforts to make this happen. We appreciate the fact that you let veterans come in here every November, and we're guests. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like being a guest. Sunday, November 11th, is the 100th anniversary of the armistice ending World War I, the war to end all wars. The Veterans of Foreign Wars had become a national organization in 1913, and membership, of course, increased dramatically after World War I. The Portage VFW post was established in October 1929. The post was named after Thomas Clary and William Craig, two Portage residents who had been killed in France during World War I. The post, of course, was comprised of World War I veterans, as well as veterans that had served in Cuba and the Philippines during the Spanish-American War. They also had a member named James Honan, who was a Civil War veteran. I would imagine they called him Gramps. Those veterans celebrated Armistice Day on November 11th of each year. But in November 1954, it became Veterans Day in honor of all those who had served in our nation's armed forces. Very important. Now, pardon me if I took the long way around on that, but I just wanted to explain how we got where we are today. I just want to interrupt for 1 minute to thank Mr. Carlson. He created this Veterans Day program 14 years ago, and he continues to be the producer, director, and the choreographer of the whole shebang. He's the straw that stirs the drink. You don't have it without him. Thank you for today's program. And thank you for all the things you do for veterans. You truly are one of the great ones. All right, yes indeed, today's the day. At least in Portage, we're selling Veterans Day. The day set aside to honor all those who have served or are serving in our nation's military. Whether you've served in Da Nang or Fort Dix, in Germany in 1956 or Afghanistan in 2018, on the water, in the air, on the ground, today we all hold the same title, veteran. No matter when or where we served, each recruit took an oath and made a commitment to our nation. I think it's a pretty unique obligation. A blank check payable to the USA for an amount up to and including your life. That's a pretty heavy commitment. Most veterans will describe their military service as a major influence in their life. A period of time that provided experiences that shaped their character and impact their lives. They're proud of their time in the service and can remember people and places they encountered along the way. Some of the memories are humorous and easily talked about. Others are personal and serious and are not shared or spoken of. Well, Veterans Day is not intended to be a somber Eeyore kind of day. It's a high five, yippee skippy, put some zip in your doodah, and live life to the fullest, man. This is the day we get hugs, handshakes, we're told thank you for your service. Veterans is our day, the day we're the center of attention, toasted and praised throughout the land. We appreciate all the accolades. We've earned it. One of the best memories of the military service is mail call. No matter where or when a person is serving, nothing can exceed the excitement of receiving a letter from home. Mail call can be a high or low depending on the type of mail you get, or maybe you don't even get a letter. Letters written to friends or family are not a request for information. They're a connection to a person in a place so far away, in time and distance. The significance of a letter from home has not changed. Now, several Portage High School students are wearing military uniforms from different eras, and they're going to read some letters to demonstrate that as much things change, some things never change. So to my fellow veterans, thank you for your service. Have a happy Veterans Day.
From Private Lester Hensler Army, Camp Meade, Maryland, 1918 to his parents. Dear Mother and Father, well, Mother, this is the proudest day of my life. We leave for over there tonight, and I am thankful that I can take place among men who will bring freedom to the world. I do not want you to worry about me at all, for I am coming back, and I will be 100% better for having gone. For in the Army, one gains a knowledge of life that is impossible to gain elsewhere. All I want of you is to keep the home's fire burning, and it will not be long until I come marching home, our mission accomplished, and happy to have suffered the hardships of war. When you speak of me in France, do not do so with a heavy heart. Do it in a proud way, for it is indeed a thing any parent should be proud of. I feel this way about it. I would rather die in war than have stayed out and lived a coward and a slacker. And Mother, there are many of those. And think of how their parents must feel when asked about their son or sons. This is a man's game. And let me tell you, Mother, when Battalion E312 FA, which is recognized to be the best battalion of field artillery in the U.S. Army, starts in, there is going to be a long line of Huns at roll call and hell for breakfast. I would like to have my picture made in my overseas outfit, but I will not have a chance. One of the boys, my buddy, had a camera, and we will take some pictures over there, and I will send you some. Well, I will say goodbye to all, and don't worry. Love and best wishes, your loving son, Lester.
From Robert W. Wurzma from Cambria, before shipping out to North Africa, Italy, and France, U.S. Army 1942 to 1945 to his parents. January 11th, 1943. Dear folks, I'm going to write you a few lines to let you know where I'm at. I didn't think we would have been here this quick, but we are on a ship in New York Harbor, and I guess we sail in a few days. We got on here Sunday morning, and now it's Monday evening. The officers have to read our mail, but I'm hoping to give this to a sailor tomorrow night before he goes on pass so he can mail it in the city. We can't get off the boat, but the sailors usually get leave every other night. This sure is a swell boat, and it's just like a house. We sure get the good eats here too. Better than I've ever had. The sailors sure are a nice bunch of boys, and most of them aren't over 18 or 20 years old. We don't think so much going to war. We think about it as a good adventure. I'm feeling swell and sure hope you are all the same. Maybe I'll get a little seasick, but I guess I'll get over that all right. So please don't worry about me. I'll be all right. It's good to know the Lord watches over his own, and I know he will take care of me. Wherever that may be, I don't know. So keep smiling. I'm hoping and praying, and someday this war will be over, and we will all be together again. I guess it's no use for you to write me until I can give you my new address. I'd rather you wouldn't talk about me being on the boat right away because loose lips sink ships. I thought you'd like to know anyway. So please don't feel bad or worry about me. I'll be okay. The old U.S. sure has a good Navy and Army, and with God's help, we sure will win in the near future. I'll close now. Your son, lots of love, Bobby.
From Sergeant Nathan Hoffman to his fiancée, Evelyn, December 31st, 1945. Dearest Evelyn, for the past 6 weeks we've had rumor and counter-rumor of going home. Tonight is New Year's Eve. For most of us, our celebration is in the fact that tomorrow we are scheduled to struggle up that game plank. This is the last day of the last month of the year, and this should be the last time I shall write you. So long, honey, and pucker up, 'cause here I come. All my love, Nathan.
From the diary of Casey Ulberg, Company F, 32nd Division. the Red Arrow Division, New Guinea, December 31st, 1942. Today, McMahon and October got it. It was like a parade of dead friends going by our position. Sammy and Taylor also had been killed. Hagee was missing, but they later found him lying on his machine gun that he had been carrying forward. I went to the graveyard. There are so many crosses with ID tags on them, names of young men who died as heroes. With a lump in my throat and a tear in my eye, I say a prayer for my many friends who have died here, including McMahon, O'Keefe, and October. Casey Huber.
From Private First Class Tim Robinson, Company C, 101st Airborne Division, to his family, April 14th, 1968. Dear Mom, Dad, Ruth, and Pat, I finally got your first letters you sent, and it sure was good to hear from you. Thanks, Pat, for your letter. I enjoyed getting them from you. I'd write you a separate letter, but I just don't have the time. Hope you don't mind. Right now I'm sitting in front of my bunker pulling guard, and it's 2 in the morning, which would make it 12 in the afternoon, April 13th at home. It is light out tonight so that I can see to write. Remember when we were kids on Easter, the girls would be all dressed up in new hats, pretty dresses, and new gloves, and us boys with new shoes and shirts, and off to church we would go and after come home to look for our Easter baskets? What good times. I hope God will bring me back home so that I may marry the girl I love, which will be in March if things go okay. Then I can watch my kids all dress up and head for church and live the days over again. Holidays are no different than any other day. Every day is Monday in Vietnam. Just about every day we walk between 3 to 12 miles through rice paddy up to our knees in mud, and up and down hills, through jungles. What a drag. I'd really like a package from home about once a week if you could, because I'm starving over here. If you could send some cans of fruit, cookies, joke books, hot rod books, baked foods, and about once a month send some stationery. I'm going to try to write to Grandma, Nancy, and Joyce too, because they always have good cooked foods. I hate to write and ask for food, but I'm losing weight fast. You should see my nice tan I have already. I think some of it's dirt. Love and miss you all lots, your loving son and brother, Tim.
To Ron Hall in Vietnam from Elaine, December 7th, 1968. My dear Ron, prepare for a sob story. Ronnie, what am I going to do? I can't stand it here on weekends. Mr. Reshower is about driving me crazy. I can't stand it in the same house with him. Even sitting in the room does not help. I went out for a walk, but it's just the same thing when I get back. It's nothing that he does personally to me, it's just him. He must be stupid, I swear. I suppose I'm making a mountain out of a small hill, but it's the way I feel. That's it. I feel like an outsider, not wanted. It's a really horrible feeling. If I don't have you, I think I would lose my mind. Darling, I miss you, need you, love you. He was being really helpful today. He asked me if you were shot yet. Then he knew a couple of cases where guys had only 2 or 3 weeks left, and they were over there, and they were getting killed. I know this doesn't do you a whole lot of good, and I don't know why it would do me any good. Why write it? I don't know. I just need someone to talk to, darling. I hope you don't mind that I pick on you. You seem to get most of my foolishness. The Packers lost to the Colts this afternoon, 3-16. It's just about it for this year. The Packers' record, 5 wins, 6 losses, 1 tie. I have so much to do, and I haven't done anything this afternoon. The book I sent you on Charlie Brown, they just had it on TV. It was really cute. I sure miss you, darling. Christmas will be lonely again without you. I love you. Today I was thinking back to the time we had together. We have fun, don't we? You make me a very happy, darling. There isn't anything that can top you. I hope I don't cause you too much guilt and bring happiness to you. I helped with the pre-kindergarten class in Sunday school this morning. It was really fun. The kids are so cute. There were about 40 of them in one class. Great chaos. I hope I can have children someday. They're one of God's greatest gifts. Speaking of kids, I should clean off my desk and get busy preparing my lesson for religion tomorrow. I have it all week. I wish I could be a good teacher. The weather is getting colder and I'm freezing. I've been really cold lately. Can't take the winter, I guess. We don't have any snow yet. I think that they had a couple inches at home last week. Must be close. Be good and take care of yourself. God be with you. All my love, Elaine. P.S. Don't forget to write to your mom.
From First Lieutenant Dean Allen, Vietnam to his wife Joyce. July 10th, 1968. Dearest wife, there are many times when I'm out on the field that I really feel the need to talk to you. Not so much about us, but what I have on my mind. I tried to write last night, but I had to stop because it got too dark and rained for 12 hours straight. Writing like that doesn't really do much good because you aren't here to answer me or discuss something. I guess this helps a little though, because you're the only one I would say these things to. Maybe sometime I'll even try to tell you how scared I've been, or am now. There's nothing I can do about it but wait for another day to start and finish. If I'd prayed before, or was religious enough to feel like I should, or had the right and pray now, I probably would have said one every night that I will see the sun again the next morning, and then I'll get back home to you. Sometimes I wonder how I'll really make it. My luck is running way too good right now. I just hope it lasts. I've already written things I never planned to write, because I don't want you to worry about me anyways. Don't worry about what I said. These are just things I think about sometimes. I'm so healthy, I can't get a day out of the field. You know I'm too darn mean to die. Hon, I better close for now and try to catch a few Z's. It'll be another long night. Sorry I haven't written more, but the weather is against me. You can't write out here when it rains hour after hour. I love you with all my heart. All my love, always. Dean.
This is from a sixth grader, Jeffrey Keeland, from Mineral Point, Wisconsin, to Gordy Blackburn. November 15th, 1990. Dear Soldier, how is it over there? Is it fun? It's not very fun here because of school. It's warm some days, but sometimes we even get a little sun. I almost forgot to introduce myself. My name is Jeffrey Keeland, and I live off the highway. Sunday, November 13th, was a bad day because right before school, a person came to my house and said my dog got ran over. I cried a little bit. My dad went over and picked him up. We buried him in our backyard. I also have a cockatiel named JP. He sits on your shoulder and your finger. On Friday, I'm going deer hunting with my grandpa and grandma. Sorry, Dad. I'm 11 years old and I'm in the 6th grade. I'm a wrestler and I'm pretty good at it. My house is really big. It used to be a funeral home. I have a go-kart and a mini bike. I'm a pretty good fisherman as well, and the biggest fish I've ever caught was 15 pounds. I'm also good at piano. I played at church and family reunions. My grandma teaches me. I bet you're pretty bored over there without something to do. Well, I gotta go. See you, buddy. Sincerely, Jeffrey Keeland.
From First Sergeant Kenneth Keeley, currently stationed in the United Arab Emirates, to his wife Amanda on Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. Dear Amanda, it has been a very long week already, and it is only Wednesday. It did rain a little bit here last night. That probably lasted about 5 minutes. So it was really good to talk to you and the girls again this morning. It always gets me ready for the day to see your smiling faces. Mary is getting so big and appears to be getting around so well. It is crazy that she was just starting to walk when I left. I'm sure that she is climbing the stairs and giving you a heart attack every time. I'm so happy to hear that the girls love their daddy dolls. We had some distinguished visitors here yesterday. That took up the majority of my morning, and the afternoon was all meetings. I almost missed Taco Tuesday for the second week in a row. There aren't a lot of highlights for Chow, other than I don't have to cook, but Taco Tuesday is definitely one of them. Thank you for all the pictures that you send. It has been keeping my spirits bright. I have them posted on the wall of my RLB. I look forward to getting Grace's fat so that I can hang that up on as well. You're doing a great job taking care of the girls in the house. I know that things certainly have not been easy this go around. Just know that I really appreciate all you do for our family. I love you all very much and look forward to seeing you again. Love, Ken. In the tradition of our fine military service, we would like to thank all who have served and all that are currently serving.
What an awesome job. We look back at the letters they read, how many common themes they are, wondering if their friend had made it through, talking about their love at home, how lonely they are. Another Packers loss. I think the Packers might be 5-6-1 this year, so as much as things change, sometimes they remain the same. So, at this time, I'd like to introduce the Portage High School Sentinels Choir. They'll be forming a mix of Yankee Doodle Dandy, You're a Grand Old Flag, and Over There as a special tribute to veterans. Thank you to the Sentinels Choir for that nice tribute. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. John Baldwin, who is a very active member of American Legion Post 47 and VFW Post 1707. As a member of the U.S. Army from 1971 to 1973, John was assigned a tour of duty in Vietnam. He remained in the National Guard until 2006 as a warrant officer. We are very fortunate to have John in the Portage community. Representing American Legion Post 47, please welcome John Baldwin.
Good afternoon. When Mr. Duval was up here, he was talking about us all being veterans, and we are. A lot of people who belong to the American Legion Post 47 also belong to the VFW Post, and we work together to support the veterans and the families in our community, and we thank you for your support back to us today. What I wanted to tell you about was the American Legion vision statement. This is kind of our core values. The American Legion is the nation's largest wartime veteran service organization. It was founded on the values and contributions and sacrifices of those who have answered the nation's call to arms. Therefore, we must continue to respond to the quality of life needs of all our veterans and their families. Prepare each generation to meet its citizenship obligations and to maintain a strong national defense. We perpetuate the principles of government embodied in the United States Constitution. And we are a values-based organization committed to serving God, country, community, and every veteran today, tomorrow, and throughout the 21st century. Thank you.
The theme for today's program is past, present, and future. As a teacher here in the high school, I've had the pleasure of working with many students who decided to enter the military after their experience here at PHS. In fact, we have some recent PHS grads that have served their country after graduation here today. At this point, I'd like you to join me in welcoming United States Air Force veteran Rebecca Carey, who will introduce our current students who are choosing to serve. Please welcome Rebecca Carey.
It's a privilege and an honor to introduce the next service members, although none of them chose the correct branch. Jackson Zions, Abe Deal, Alex Pfeiffer, Nick Ebert, Nick Gorney, and Ronald Grimm. Thank you for your service.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. To start off, I will introduce our students, like Rebecca Carey did. To my right, Ronald Grimm, U.S. Marines. Abe Deal, U.S. Army. Nick Everett, who's actually already a U.S. Army soldier. He's already gone through boot camp, and he will be completing his service after the school year. He's in the U.S. Army Reserves. And then, let's see, Nick Gorney, sorry guys. Nick Gorney, U.S. Army. And Alex Pfeiffer, U.S. Army also. I'd like to take a quick moment to thank the community and Mr. Carlson for putting this together so well every year. Since my freshman year, it's really been one of the coolest things I attend for my high school career. I also want to wish a happy early 242nd birthday to the few and the proud Marines who are in attendance today. I also want to recognize the fine men and women before me for giving me the opportunity to speak before them. I know what many of you may be thinking, this kid needs a haircut. I assure you, my hair and I will depart before June 10th when I shift to boot camp. Sadly. Many of these men and women behind me signed a blank check, purely for the love of their country, their family, and freedom. None of it was easy. For some of you behind me, it all started the day you walked in the office and talked to a recruiter. It was go time. You got on the shuttle, drove miles away, and you were off to basic training. You stepped off, and there was a man in a Smokey the Bear hat yelling in your face and telling you to get off his bus. At this moment, you might have been thinking, what the heck did I sign up for? Boot camp was hard, but you made it through, and you were proud. You were sent to your first assignment. Soon after, you may have deployed, and earned a promotion, and deployed again, and repeated maybe even once more. You put in your time, and you would come back home. For some, it was a different story. You may have been watching TV, and it was the night you found out you were drafted or not. Your number was called, and you may have really not known what to think. Either way, duty had called, and you answered. Many of those men and women aren't here today in attendance. Some have passed away, some never came home to be found, and some just don't attend due to guilt, depression, and many other reasons. On average, every year, 22 veterans a day commit suicide. It really pains me to recite that statistic.
I think saying thank you will only do so much for our veterans, in my opinion. They're truly amazing human beings. Today opens our eyes a little more. Veterans Day allows us not only to thank them, but to think of them and consider their well-being too. Think of everyone you know personally who has spent any time in the military. Think about them, talk to them. Ask how they're doing. Make sure they're okay. I ask from you all that you make today not just the day you think of it. I ask that you tell them they aren't alone. Let them know that they will never be forgotten. Let them know that you are here for them and assure that you love them. After this ceremony, I can't wait to talk to my brother, who is thousands of miles away, and tell him I love him, I miss him, and he's in my heart everywhere I go. I hope you do the same to whoever that person or those people in your life that sacrificed everything they had and signed the blank check and gave it to us. A blank check that has a debt we can't pay back to them. Please take this day to enjoy with your family and friends that served. Make sure they know they're loved and appreciated. Thank you to our heroes, and happy Veterans Day.
All right, it's time to stand up. We gotta make some noise. Mr. Duvall alluded to this. This is a celebration. You got some flags. We all have a connection to our veteran. Let's make the loudest Portage High School cheer and wave those flags and salute our veterans. Come on, you can do better than this. I wanted to see how cool that was going to look when you did that. So it looks pretty cool. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Portage High School Valkyries Choir. They will be singing the iconic World War II tune, Boogie Woogie Boogle Boy. It's an extreme honor to have veterans in attendance today. We are now going to have a special salute and introduce these veterans individually by the decade in which they served this great nation. Veterans, we ask that you please stand when your name is called. If you are unable to stand, please raise your hand so you can be saluted and acknowledged. As a special tribute, our veterans will be saluted by our PHS students who are choosing to enter the military. Audience, please hold your applause until all names from that decade have been read. We also know, I think some veterans came in maybe after the program started. Please let us know after the program. We definitely have a flower for you. 1940s veterans. Russ Wyman, Navy, 1945 to 1946. Jack McMahon, Marines, 1942 to 1945. Milton Bader, Army, 1943 to 1945. Bob Johnson, Army, 1944 to 1946. Gordon Grossman, Army, 1943 to 1968. Thank you, 1940s era veterans. We now honor our veterans that began their service in the 1950s. Dale Gray, Navy, 1950 to 1954. Joel Hammermeister, Navy, 1957 to 1960. Dave Uhlberg, Army, 1959 to 1962. Donald Salzman, Air Force, 1954 to 1957. Tom Loomis, Navy, 1955 to 1976. Myron Byers, Air National Guard, 1957 to 1995. My dad, Francis Carlson, Army, 1959 to 1961. Thomas D. Ness, Army, 1959 to 1962. Marion Lee Chenoweth, Army, 1950 to 1953. William Maxwell, Air Force, Army, 1954 to 1956. William Tierney, Air Force, 1950 to 1954. Warren Rebels, Army, 1953 to 1978. Our 1950s decade veterans. '60s veterans, and we got a lot of them here. I love to see it. Ron Woodard, Army, or Marine Corps and Army, 1968 to 1979. Bruce Smith, Army, 1969 to 1970. Pat Hartley, Navy, 1966 to 1971. Dan Ferguson, Army, 1962 to 1968. Ken Hutler, Air Force, 1960 to 1967. Dean Simonson, Army, 1965 to 1970. Robert Finzel, Army, 1963 to 1965. Larry Dijkstra, Army, 1968. Tom Borkovist, Air Force, 1966 to 1972. Joyce Jansen, Navy and the Army, 1967 to 1998. James Miller, Army, 1968 to 1980. John Mills, Army, 1961 to 1963. Jim Nelson, Army, 1962 to 1965. Betty Reynolds, Women's Army Corps, 1966 to 1969. Gary Herwig, Army, 1965 to 1967. Bud Lawrence, Air Force, 1966 to 1969. Tom Schneller, Army, 1968 to 1974. Jim Bullgreen, Army, 1969 to 1971. Alex Swanson, Army, 1964 to 1966. Jim Bethke, Army, 1964 to 2006. James O'Keefe, Navy, 1961. James Jordan, Army, 1968 to 1970. Carl Kinchy, Navy, 1969 to 1973. Bill LaFleur, Army, 1966 to 1969. Steve Willis, Navy, 1968 to 1972. Chris Schutz, Air Force, 1963 to 1967. Tom Drury, Navy, 1969 to 1973. Delmont Molden, Air Force, 1967 to 1971. Ken Oxer, Navy and Marines, 1967 to 1970. Carl Schultz, WAC, 1961 to 1964. Lee Vaughn, Air Force, 1966 to 1970. Richard Kalia, Army, 1965 to 1967. Sam Shelby, Army Reserves, 1968 to 1969. Jerry Brown, Marine Corps, 1966 to 1969. Ray Norland, Army, 1964 to 1970. And Dennis Benson, Army, 1969 to 1970, the 1960s veteran. Now veterans that began their service in the 70s. Eric Soderland, all four branches, 1973 to 2001. Stuart Russell Jr., Air Force, 1973 to 76. Paul Hens, Navy, 1979 to 2001. John Baldwin, Army, 1971 through 2006. Kevin O'Neill, Air Force, Coast Guard, Army National Guard, 1971 to 1992. Richard Lake, Army, 1977 to 1995. Jim Humphrey, Navy, 1971 through 75. Patrick White, Navy, 1972 through 78. Bill Guthrie, Army, 1970 to 1972. Ed Carey, Marines, Army, and Air Force, and all of them, 1978 to 2012. Lisa Allen, Army, 1975 to 1978. Jack Polson, Army, 1970 to 1971. Ray Williams, Army, 1976 to 1983. Don McElroy, Navy, 1972 through 1990. Jack Smith, Army, 1976 through 1996. And Jeff Crone, Air Force, 1974 through 1978. Veterans that began their service in the 1980s. Our Dean of Students, Brad Meister, Army, 1983 to 1994. Gordon Blackburn, Army, 1986 to 1992. Murray Loomis, the Marines, 1981 through 1984. Dan Riley, Marine Corps, 1983 to 1987. Our 1980s veterans. Our 1990s veterans, Rebecca Carey, Air Force, 1993 through 2016. Jason Doro, Army, 1990 through the present. Donald Mell, Army, 1994 through 1996. And Kevin Masterson, Army, 1993 through 1997. And veterans that began their service 2000 or later. Philip Cambron, Marines, 2003 through 2013. And Adam Wallace, Army, 2007 through 2012. Thank you to all veterans. Nice round of applause for the PHS band under the direction of Mr. Tom Shaver. At this time, we would like to honor our servicemen and women who are not able to be with us this afternoon. This includes many recent graduates of PHS, as well as many family members and friends of those in the gym today. In fact, many students have come up to me over the past couple weeks and asked about reading a name of someone close to them. Although we can't read all these names, we are thinking of you. Thank you for your service and wish you a happy Veterans Day. It is my honor to lead you in a round of applause and appreciation for all veteran servicemen and women who could not be in attendance today. Veterans do not take life for granted. They know that duty and sacrifice are more than words. Veterans love America deeply because they know the cost of freedom, and they know the names and faces of the men and women who paid the ultimate price for freedom. We recognize that all our veterans have given something to this country, and some have given all, laying down their lives to defend the freedoms we value so greatly. Today we give a special salute to some of the great veterans who have honorably worn the uniform but are no longer with us. These great Americans have all passed away in the last year. Students, staff, and honored guests. It is actually an extreme honor for me to be able to read these names as a special tribute. And I know many of you have sent them to me and asked me if I would read their name. I'm very honored. We salute each and all. of these honorable veterans no longer with us. John Amond, James Briggs, Reverend Wayne Duncan, Frank Fundingsland, Gerald Garrigan, Jerry Goki, Stephen Grunke, Sherry Hansberry Jackson, Tony Hatch, Richard Higgs, William James, Wayne Johnson, Russell Jorns, Ronald Kierna, Edward Clapstein, Robert Bob Kleist, Roy Hophammer, Reverend Theodore Krieger, Daryl LaBelle, Robert Bob Lane, Gerald Lang, Howard Ladden, Robert Lawver, Paul Coach Manley, James Meinke, Arthur Monteferrante, Floyd Nelson, Robert Bob Newkirk, Roy Oliviers, Dwayne Ostrander, Herbert Paskey, Marvin Simonson, Tommy Simonson, James Summers, Lane Spicer, John Jack Stout, Dr. Stuart Taylor, Donald Dint Tessman, Earl Tetzloff, Warren Pee Wee Walter. At this time, I ask that you all please stand and join me in a moment of silence for all of our veterans who made the ultimate commitment to serve our nation and are no longer with us today. As we near the end of our ceremony today, I ask that the members of the Honor Guard, flag folders, and buglers get organized. As they prepare for the final part of the program, please join me in a round of applause for our bagpiper, Mr. Richard Hoy. At this time, the Honor Guard will be conducting military honors as a tribute to all veterans who are no longer with us today. Normally, the official folded flag would then be presented to the family as a special memorial to the veteran. Today, the veterans will be presenting the flag to an honored guest as a special thank you for their service. Please be aware that the Honor Guard will be firing their rifles in this tribute, and it will be loud. We also ask that everyone remain completely silent during this simulation to our fallen vets.
I'm honored to be selected to present the American flag, which represents our great nation, to a person who has done so much for so many, for so long. At this time, because of the age of the recipient of the flag, I'd like to ask our students to remain standing, and school employees also, if you so desire. The rest of you may be seated. The person receiving this flag knows a lot about past, present, and future veterans. We have our past veterans' uniforms in attendance today with our students wearing them. We have our present veterans all in attendance that are here, and the future veterans over here lined up. At this time, I'm going to get our recipient. Robin Cavallo, would you please come forward? Don't you get emotional, because when I get emotional, we're going to have a hell of a problem. Okay. On behalf of the American Legion Post 47 and VFW Post 1707 in Portage, please accept this flag for all your support for all our veterans for all these years, including your father, the late dead rebels, and of this special Veterans Day program. We also have a plaque for you. Veterans Day, November 11, 2018, a flag presentation through Robin Cavallo, presented by the VFW Post 1707 and American Legion Post 47. Thank you for your service. And happy retirement.
Thanks, Dean. You can be seated. We're almost at the conclusion here. I'd like to give one more nice round of applause to the members of the Honor Guard, as well as to Chandler Breen and Chris Thomas for playing taps. And now please welcome Angie Chappell.
We need to thank the committee for all their hours and work in planning this Veterans Program. Mr. Ed Carlson and Connie Wampler from the senior high school, and our veterans here with us today. Norm Benarek, American Legion Post 47 Adjutant, Susie Henke, American Legion member and a VFW member, Dave Yulberg, an American Legion member, Eric Soderlund, American Legion member, Dave Duvall, VFW member, Commander of the VFW, Gordy Blackburn, Commander of American Legion Post 47, Dean Simonson, and a VFW member. Thank you all for doing this today.
Are here for some concluding remarks. I'm just going to speak from the heart to start with. First of all, it's absolutely an extreme privilege to be in the gym with all of these veterans. I myself never have been a veteran, never served, and the appreciation I have for these individuals is tremendous. I also am thankful to be a member of Portage High School because we have an amazing student body. We had some students step up and play some huge roles today. It's not easy to stand up here and address your entire student body and over 100 veterans. It's also an extreme honor to hear all the compliments I got from the people in the parking lot, from the ushers, to the people signing veterans in. This was truly a team effort, and I'm telling you, this is a special place. It doesn't happen in a lot of the schools. Portage High School is special. Yeah, we should clap for that. As we close today, I'm going to echo what Jackson said in his speech. I urge each and every one of you to thank a veteran, but not just on today. Let's thank and truly appreciate our veterans on a daily basis. How are you going to show thanks? Is it social media? Is it a phone call? Is it a handshake? Let's give thanks on all days. But since it's Veterans Day, definitely today, because you only get one day. And this truly is a celebration. We remembered some people that are no longer with us, and it's certainly somber, but Veterans Day is a celebration. It's a celebration of the men and women that have worn the uniform of the United States Armed Forces. Yeah, let's one more time. I'd like to thank everyone for attending. The students were great as usual. We had extraordinary amount of people here. I'm guessing it's probably a record because we ran out of parking spaces. So thank you for everyone in attendance, and God bless America. Students, you are dismissed for the weekend. Have a great weekend.